We're in Numbers chapter 13 today, and in this place we have wonderful full agreement about a thing that is going to take place. And before I read there, I'm actually going to flip over to Deuteronomy and read in chapter 1 here, picking up with verse 20. We'll pick up in Deuteronomy 1:20, because this goes very much right with this passage. And it said, "And I said unto you, ye are come unto the mountain of the Amorites, which the Lord our God doth give unto us. Behold, the Lord thy God hath set before thee, or said thee, go up and possess it, as the Lord thy God of thy fathers hath said unto thee, fear not, neither be discouraged. And ye came near unto me every one of you, and said, we will send men before us, that they shall search us out the land, and bring us word again by what way we must go up, and into what cities we shall come. And the saying pleased me well. And I took 12 men of you, one of a tribe, and they turned and went up into the mountain, and came unto the valley of Eshcol, and searched it out." And it goes on telling more about what the spies did there and what they did. Then we go back to the incident that's referring back, and we'll pick up. And in chapter 13 it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel." So here we have a wonderful full agreement. God is for it. All the people are for it. Moses is for it. Everybody's for this wonderful plan to send the spies in to go see what it was and to go check out this land. And they go in there, and as they go, as you recall, they come to what they call the Valley of Eshcol, which simply means cluster. And there they took down a cluster of grapes that, how big was that? Well, it doesn't tell us a weight or a grape count, but it was big. They carried it on a pole between two men, and it was obviously a huge thing. And they go in there, and they search out the land, and they look around, and they look about in verse, we'll pick up with verse 23. It says, "And they came unto the brook Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch, one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs." And so they found all this good fruit there, and they go in and are checking things out. And then it's time for them to come and bring a report back. And see, we'll pick up 25. It says, "And they returned from searching of the land after 40 days, and they went and came to Moses and Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran, unto Kadesh." Of course, often it's called Kadesh Barnea. That's a more specific place, but often they just use the word Kadesh too. "And they brought back word unto them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them and said, we came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. And let's see, the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan." And Caleb senses, some of these people are getting scared. And so Caleb, it's his turn. He's going to take a turn. "And Caleb stilled the people before Moses, and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against these people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. So we were in their sight. Now what's the problem here? Why are they concerned about that? These people, right, what have they just been through? Well, within the last roughly year or so, they saw all the plagues in Egypt. They saw the Red Sea part. They saw the Egyptian army get killed by God. They saw all these major miracles. They saw their cattle get killed, their firstborn sons get killed. They saw darkness come in one spot and not in another spot. They saw hail and fire, all kinds of lightning and fire. They saw all these things and many miracles. And now they go and they see this land and they're saying, we can't handle these guys. They're bigger and tougher than we are. We're going to get killed. The whole problem is they're trusting in themselves all of a sudden instead of in God. Was it their own strength that threw off the Egyptians that were the most powerful nation of the time and had them under? It wasn't their own strength. But here they start being worried about it and trusting in their own abilities and not listening to God. God had said, I'm giving you this land. Go take it. It's yours. And we'll read on a little more chapter. It says, chapter 14, verse 1, all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, and the whole congregation said unto him, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in the wilderness. Wherefore hath the Lord brought us unto this land, to fall by the sword, and that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? And they said one to another, let us make a captain, and let us return into Egypt. And Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Israel, and Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched out the land, rent their clothes. And they spake all of the company of the children of Israel, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land, and give it to us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. They're saying, God's promised us this land. How long had God been promising them that land? Well, let's see, it was Abraham, right? That's 430 years or thereabouts, maybe a little more than that before. And was that repeated to anybody else? Multiple times. It's repeated to Abraham and to Isaac and to Jacob. And Moses has heard it a bunch, and all the descendants, they know that that land is going to be theirs. And God said he was giving it to them. If they're paying any attention to what God said, they know this is a promise of God. We have this land for ourselves. And here, the four guys, Moses and Aaron and Joshua and Caleb, are telling them, let's go take it. God's going to give it to us. He said he was going to. It's a good land. In verse 9, what does he say? Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them. The Lord is with us, fear them not. And he uses a great simple word picture, right? First off, he tells them, don't rebel against the Lord, because God has said, go take it. And if you don't do what God says, what are you doing? Well, you're disobeying him. You're rebelling against what he said. And he tells them, don't do that. He says, neither fear the people of the land. He said, for they are bread unto us. Now, how powerful is a piece of bread? These people look big and strong, but they say, they're bread to us. We can take it. We can handle this. Nobody has too much trouble with a piece of bread or a loaf of bread. You got it, right? You can handle that thing. Your loaf of bread does not beat you up in the morning. You got it. I mean, you can take it. You can handle it. It's fine. And that's how he describes. He said, their defense is departed from them. The Lord is with us. Fear them not. This was very clear, right instruction they were getting. Don't be afraid of them. God said, don't be afraid. God's told them not to be afraid so many times, but their fears seem to be overtaking them. And they give them this wonderful and clear direction. But what do they say? It says, all the congregation bade stone them with stones. They didn't want to listen to what was right. They were afraid, and they wanted to be afraid, and they had decided to be afraid. Speaking of that, fear not is one of the most repeated commands of the entire Bible. Don't be afraid, fear not. It is repeated over and over and over to many people in many books all throughout the Bible. Don't be afraid. God doesn't want us to be afraid. If we're sitting dealing with fear, where does that come from? Well, it's very clear from 1 Timothy. He says, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. God doesn't want us being in fear. He wants us to be confident in our trust in him. And we can overcome anything. You don't have to be afraid to witness for the Lord. That fear isn't from God. It's from the enemy. If you're struggling with fear, overcome it. Get rid of it. Say, I'm going to trust God and overcome this. These people had this great fear that's overrunning their trust of God. And so what did they respond? They wanted to get rid of them. They wanted to stone those 4 guys with stones. But then it says, and the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. So, and God steps in, and people start saying, uh-oh. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? How long will it be ere they believe me for all the signs which I have showed among them? I will smite them with a pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they. So here Moses is, God's saying, this whole group, they're not believing me at all. Maybe I should just destroy them and get rid of them and make of you a better nation. But Moses then has a conversation with God, and Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou brought up this people in thy might from among them, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land, for they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people, and thou art seen face to face, and that thy cloud standeth over them, and that thou goest before them by daytime in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night. Now if thou shalt kill all this people as one man, then the nations which have heard of the fame of thee will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them, therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness. And now I beseech thee, let the power of the Lord be great, according as thou hast spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering and of great mercy, forgiving iniquity and transgression, and by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation. So Moses prays for the people, and what does he use as a basis? He uses a basis of God's reputation and what other groups and peoples will think about God. God is concerned about what people think about him, and God wants people to think rightly and clearly and trust him and fear him and give him the honor and respect for what he has done. When people want to attack things, of course now with their attacking in many areas in God's design, creation, all those things, they want to take away the glory of the Creator. And of course that is completely against what God wants. He wants people to know who he is and what he has done and to honor him. In verse 19 he says, pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. There's been a lot of times they've needed forgiveness, and God's forgiven them, and Moses is pleading for them again. And and then he says, and the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. In other words, people are going to know about him. And people are going to know too. Sometimes the more and more people deny him, that doesn't mean he doesn't exist or that they won't acknowledge him. As you read in the tribulation, right? What do the people say that are hiding from him? They say, hide us from the faith, from the wrath of the Lamb. Oh, they know who's doing it. They know what's going on. And yet they're hiding and running from him. But then verse 22, he says, because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened unto my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoked me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into this land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. So, and God's saying, those that honored me and feared me and believed me, they're going in. Those that did not, well, none of them are going to see it. And then God uses their own words, as that he said in verse 20, it says, say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in my ears, so will I do unto you. Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you according to your whole number, from 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me, doubtless ye shall not come into the land, concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb the son of Jephunneh and Joshua the son of Nun. Said, but your little ones which ye said should be a prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. So here God's very clear about them. You're not coming in, those of you, and he had a cutoff line from 20 and upward. They were held fully responsible for their actions in going along, and those that were under, they were going to be allowed to go in. But so what do the children of Israel do? How do they respond when the judgment time comes? Oh, they know, we're in trouble. We better do what God said now. And so they, I'm going to hit one other thing before that real quick. I'm sorry. So after this judgment is all pronounced, that they're going to wander 40 years in the wilderness, and their carcasses are going to fall there, and they're going to be dying out there, it says, the judgment is pronounced, and the men which Moses sent to search out the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before the Lord. So here's these 10 prominent leader guys. They all dropped dead. And people seem to know about it, and it's like, And, it says, but Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of the men that went to search the land, they lived still. They didn't drop dead. They were all fine. But those 10 guys, they're all dead. And they were lead guys. It said every one a leader among them, prominent, well-known, respected men, all dropped dead. Except for Joshua and Caleb, that were obviously fighting for the right side. And so everybody's getting the idea that they've been wrong and that they were in trouble. And what happened? So the people mourned greatly, and then in verse 40, it says, and they rose up early in the morning and gat them up to the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here. We will go unto the place which the Lord hath promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Wherefore now do ye transgress the commandment of the Lord, but it shall not prosper? Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that ye be not smitten before your enemies. Sometimes people's choices are their choices, and there's no more chance to change it. Sometimes God said, you get this chance to choose, and that's it. And that happened with these people. They couldn't go take it anymore. Once judgment was pronounced, now often God is gracious and gives people multiple chances to do this. And they'd actually had quite a lot of chances. God said they'd not believed him 10 times, he uses the example of, and it was a lot of times, whether it was complaining about water or grumbling about the manna or whatever, the multiple things. They had not believed him. But at this point, they can't change their mind. Judgment's pronounced. And so it's happening for everybody. At one point, people are going to have their last chance. And if they don't trust the Lord, it's going to be too late. Too late to make any other chances. Now we know, without any question, that once a person has died, it's judgment time. Sometimes people still getting chances before that, but sometimes I kind of think people make their choice, and that's it before that even happens. Sometimes people, God lets them go their own way. Sometimes people make a choice and they say, no, I'm not paying attention to that. And God quits working on them, and they don't ever get convicted again. They just go their own way. Sometimes there's not another chance to go into the promised land. As these people, they were supposed to go enjoy the promised land, but they're not going there. Now, they think they're going to, right? All of a sudden they think, oh, okay, we know now that we were wrong, and now we're going to go up and do it. But Moses says, don't go. God's not with you. You're not getting it. You made your choice, so to speak. And what happens, they don't listen again. They say, go not up that you be not smitten. It says, for the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword, because ye have turned away from the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. Oh, but they presumed to go up to the top of the hill. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not from the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites which dwelt in the hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah. They got chased and beat out. They weren't going in. They weren't going to make it. They couldn't do it. And if you use the promised land as a little bit of a similarity to getting to the eternal promised land, when God works on your heart, don't harden it. Say yes and trust him to forgive and cleanse you, and say it's only by your strength. There's no way I'm doing it on my own. They saw these giants. They saw these powerful people. They should have known we can't trust ourselves. We're not strong enough. But we'll believe God, and we'll take him and trust him and go. But what do? No, they don't do that. And at some point there, when God gave the judgment, it's too late. It was too late for them to get it anymore. God wasn't going to give it to them anymore. And so it is. So when the Lord speaks on your heart on something, we don't know how many times he'll keep working on us. Sometimes he keeps patiently giving us chance after chance after chance. But at some point, there won't be that. Make sure that when the Lord works on you on something, you trust him. If it's for salvation, make sure you trust him to forgive you and be your Lord and Savior. If it's in other areas, trust him for those and make the changes when he works on you. Let's just bow for prayer together. Lord, I thank you for your word. I pray that you would help us to be quick to obey you and to always trust you, and not to trust in ourselves or any goodness we might think we might have. I pray that you would help us to be people that bring honor and glory to you simply by trusting what you say and seeking to obey you with all our hearts. We ask these things in your name. Amen.